Welcome back to the Bet Leveling Show. I am Alan. I will be hosting the NBA slate for tonight's games. Tonight is Friday, the 26th, the day after Christmas. I hope everyone had a great Christmas, a great time with their family, got some good presents, and most importantly, I hope you guys cashed some good coin. If you didn't, that's okay. We'll run it back today. I will be going through the entire 9-game NBA slate that we have, the ins and outs, and I will give you then, at the end of it, my 4 favorite player props for today's slate. If you guys have any more questions, any more insight, or want more props, make sure to go into our Discord. It's completely free. We did cash out a 12x play yesterday, which I will show here in a bit, but make sure to go ahead and join up into our Discord. It's completely free of charge. I'll send out all my plays, insights, and more in there. And then, of course, we got a great community there. People continue to post plays and continue to cash as well. So feel free to join. No cost to you. So let's dive deep into the games. Let's get this NBA slate started. We got a long slate, so please tune in. Pop this puppy on 1.5x or 2x. Do what you got to do, and let's get it for today. See you guys on. And we woke up to some good coin last night. So we cashed out a 12x play. I probably posted about 4 to 5 plays yesterday, went 0-4, but then this last play here was the last play I posted for the Discord and for the people in the community, and we cashed it. So we woke up to some good coin. We still made a profitable day. We will take that all day and always. Sometimes it's not how you start, but it's how you finish. So we finished good and we finished strong here. But yeah, if you guys, again, want all the plays, the insights, and more, make sure to join the Discord below. If you guys have more plays yourselves, go ahead and post in there. And then also, I post on my X page as well, at Live to Amuse. So feel free to join me, tell me there, see exactly what I'm going on in as well. But yeah, other than that, let's dive deep into the slate. Let's see what we can pick out, and let's see what we can talk about, discuss, and hopefully we'll cash even more. Let's build up on it. So let's get it going. First slate we have today, we have the Boston Celtics going against the Indiana Pacers, which the Boston Celtics, they just played the Pacers. They played them at home back on the 22nd, so about a couple days ago. Seems like Boston had to spend their time in Indiana. Probably not, but they are playing them back-to-back. Indiana Pacers, I will say, are 0-5 their last 5 games. They have not won. They had looked terrible. They looked trash this entire season. And the Celtics, for me, they kind of look 50-50. Jaylen Brown's doing his thing, stepping up in the ways he needs to, especially with Tatum being out. So I really like what the Celtics are showing, especially Brown. Brown is probably a little bit more of my favorite. I know there's people out there that like Tatum or Brown. It's funny. I have a discussion with one of my buddies who's a massive Celtics fan, and a lot of the Celtics have like a split decision of favoritism when it comes to Jaylen Brown or Tatum, and I think I kind of sway a little bit more towards the Brown side. This year, it kind of justifies it a little bit more, puts the little staple or the nail in the coffin for me. I mean, he's averaging 30 points or more, is doing what he needs to do, getting his rebounds and assists as well, and really distributing the ball and being that main denominator there. So I really like what he's doing. So I can't say anything wrong with that, right? But either way, let's discuss the game here. So as you guys can see, a lot of people are on the Celtics tonight, which makes the complete sense. They just beat them last game, and again, the Pacers look completely terrible. But let's look at the numbers. Let's look at exactly what the money lines say. So right now we have the Boston Celtics sitting at minus 340 for the slate. They are minus 8, so they think they can cover about an 8 to 9 point win against the Pacers. And then the over-under is at 221. Some apps favoring it 223 or so in between there. So pretty low scoring game, which makes sense because the last time they played them, it was 95 to 103. They didn't even touch 100 points, the Pacers. So I can understand exactly why this could be low scoring. In fact, a lot of people think this is going to go over. I think it might be another low scoring game. I mean, you got to think it's been Christmas, people celebrating. They got to play a team like this. They think they're going to already win. They're not going to come with any juice or excitement here, in my opinion. And so I do think this game could go under that, maybe under 224.5, just to be extra safe. That means both teams would have to score at least 110 to 115 each, a little bit around there. And again, Pacers didn't even touch 100. So I think that could happen again. And now where the other thing we got to look at as well is the spread, right? Because the thing is with the money line, obviously with the Celtics being at minus 340, if they win, it's not going to be a massive cash out. And 9 times out of 10, most people with a minus 340, they're going to pair it with something else. So, the Celtics can win, but is that other pairing that they add to it going to cash as well so they can cash out? So I don't think Vegas is too worried about 97% of the public being on the Boston Celtics money line makes the most sense. Excuse me. I think where where they could make their most money here is honestly the Pacers not covering the spread, right? Because it's about 45% on the spread. I mean, when it's between 50 to 60%, honestly, it's still a toss-up. It's a coin flip. It can happen. Again, I say it all the time in the videos where a lot of the Vegas can make their money based on the player props. So where I would really put focus here, if you guys really want to make a play that's not a juiced Celtics money line, is I would do the under for this game. That's where I'd put the most focus in this game here. And again, I would probably alternate it to about 224.5 just to be extra safe. So that's what we're looking at that slate there. My take, Boston's going to win. It should be an easy take here. Now, let's jump into the next game here. We have the Charlotte Hornets against the Orlando Magic. As you guys can obviously see, the Magic are extreme favorites. It's about 50-50 split for the covering of the spread. And then we have the total. Everyone is on the over for the total on this game. So let's dive deep into it. What does it look like? So we have the Charlotte Hornets as the underdogs, plus 200. Magic is sitting at minus 220, minus 225, depending on the apps, maybe some at minus 230 as well. So depending on the app, see where you can get the best lines. And then we have the spread sitting at plus 6.5. Some apps are sitting at plus 5 or minus 5 there. And then we're sitting at the total anywhere between 230.5 to 228. So that's something to keep in mind there. So pretty high scoring game, kind of mid. Both teams would have to score about 110, 115 each to hit that 230, which is definitely possible, right? Concanople's been doing his thing. LaMelo Ball's getting back. And there's like some form of chemistry with LaMelo, Brandon Miller, and even Concanople doing their thing together. And then Miles Bridges, coming out there, doing his thing as well. So I think that scoring is I'm kind of with the public here. I can definitely see where they can make some good money here. But let's look at the line. So 79% of the public's on the Magic. It makes sense. The Hornets, even though they're playing well, they got some good, great pickups throughout the entire offseason and drafted really well. Top 2, top 3 rookie of the year status right now, Khan. They're doing well. There's just some part of something missing, whether it's culture, coaching, team morale, injuries, whatever it is. There's something up with the Hornets that's not giving them that extra juice, in my opinion. So I do think the Magic can take this away here. Excuse me. But yeah, the Magic can take this away, in my opinion. I do think they can take it away. But I have seen the Charlotte Hornets upset a few. Where Vegas would obviously make the most money is if Charlotte not only covers but also wins. But honestly, just with the amount of juice that the Magic have, I think they're probably going to win. So where I would probably take this spread here is I would take the Orlando Magic spread, and I would probably do like a minus 2.5, minus 3.5 for this game, just based on the numbers here. I don't see the Hornets winning, especially in Orlando, and then also coming off of Christmas. I'll have to see it. Me being a Hornets fan, I'll have to see it. But I just can definitely see the Magic taking this game away. So let's jump into the next game here. We got the Toronto Raptors against the Washington Wizards. So we have the Wizards, obviously, as the biggest underdogs, which makes the most sense. The Wizards have looked like the Pacers. The East has just been kind of trash this year. So the top teams on the East just kind of have been a walking path there. But either way, the Washington Wizards, they have a few wins there, not enough to celebrate, but a few wins. But it's just not good enough. And Toronto has been looking really well. Brandon Ingram's been doing really well. Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett. These guys here, they're working really well, not only together, but they are studs too. You put them on separate teams, they can make a really big difference for any team that they join as well. So this team right here, the Toronto Raptors, can be surprising. And so I don't blame the public being on Toronto here. Minus 275, the Raptors sitting. Washington's sitting at plus 245. The spread sitting at plus 8.5. Plus 6.5, depending on the sports books you guys are using. And then everything is swaying towards the total being about 225, 226, maybe some 227 if you can find some good sports books for some good odds there. So that's what we're sitting at here for this game. Not really much to go crazy on. I just think, I think it's just kind of a basic decision here. Toronto Raptors takes it money line all the way. The spread, they think Toronto can cover. that's where I'd probably focus most of the coin on with Vegas, right? I think if they can cover, Washington can cover about an 8.5, 9.5 spread, basically not lose by 10. I think that's where you can get your most coin here. I just don't see the Washington Wizards beating Toronto whatsoever, but I do think they can cover. I mean, they have been playing, not the best, but they've been covering a little bit throughout the games this past couple games, and they got a few wins surprisingly as well on some teams that I did not expect them to win against. So I think they can cover. I think that's a young team, ambitious players, and who knows, they can surprise some people. And with the way sports have been going, all in all, I'm not going to put it past anyone at this point. So I don't hate this. And then the over under is probably 50-50. Honestly, with these two teams, I think it could be high scoring just because, I don't really think these two teams really have anything to crazy fight for. And I think they're just going to let these boys play. So if that's the case, I do like the over as well. I'm with the public there. But my pick personally, I do like the spread. So that's where I'll be sticking to right there. Now let's jump into the next game. The next game, we got Miami versus Atlanta. Miami is sitting at the underdogs here, obviously, but not by much. They're only plus 120, and then we have the Atlanta Hawks at minus 135. So, this is going to be a very close game. As you guys can see, the public is on Atlanta. 68% of the money is on Atlanta here. But we have the spread sitting only at plus 3. Some apps at plus 2.5 to 1.5. So, very close. And then we have a very, very, very high total for this game, which honestly, this is where I would want to kind of point towards when it comes to player props here. So this game's sitting at 248.5, 245, 246, depending on the sports book. But yeah, like high scoring game. I mean, this is where people can make the good coin depending on the players you guys pick out. My opinion, I do like Trae Young in this game here. He's been ramping up. Jalen Johnson as well. These are guys that I'm going to be focused on, especially for Atlanta. And then Norman Powell, Tyler Hero, these are going to be the people I focus on for Miami Heat here. Now, let's look at the numbers here. Let's follow the money. Atlanta Hawks, 68%. Money line, minus 135. I don't hate that. I could definitely see that happening. However, Miami covering a plus 3, a plus 2.5 spread. This is where Vegas would make their most money. So with Atlanta being the favorites, they're minus 135. So 68% of people on that, they're not going to go crazy about, making money there. Where Vegas would make the most money is if Atlanta covers the spread. So they win by 3 or more. So that's going to be my pick here, just solely going against the numbers, solely going against the Vegas and the odds here, or against the public, not really against Vegas. I'm going towards Vegas way. So I really do think Vegas can make some good coin, and I'm going to be joining them with that as well. So I'm going to take Atlanta minus 2.5, maybe minus 3 to get an extra juice, but that's what I'm sitting with here. And then the over-under for the total, it's just not enough kind of leeway here for me to make a big decision on that. It could be high scoring, could be low scoring. I mean, 248 is high. That's showing both teams to hit 120 to 125 each. That is high. Not saying it's impossible for Atlanta or Miami, but it is high. So I think I am with the public a little bit here. I might sway a little bit under, but I do hope for a good game. And Atlanta minus 2.5 for this game. So that's what I'm sitting with there. Next game we have is the Philadelphia 76ers going against the Chicago Bulls. This should be a good game. It's honestly very even as well when it comes to the, money line and spread. So, right now we have the Philadelphia 76ers almost very closely as underdogs, but it's basically almost even. It's almost 110 to 110. So even of making the decision who's going to win. But, Philly right now is the main underdogs. And then we have the spread sitting at plus 1.5. All throughout the sports book. So very close game. You don't really know a determinant factor. The over-under for this total here is about 240, 239. So, again, another high-scoring game. Both teams averaging 115, 120 each for them to hit this over. So, it should be a good game. This is another game I would really target when it comes to player props as well. Maybe some Vucevic action, some Joel Embiid, some Tyrese Maxey, even get some VJ Edgecombe as well, and then some Giddey. Giddey's line, it has been going down a little bit, so not sure about that. But I do like him to get some rebounds and assists. High-scoring games really opens that up for him. So I don't mind that or hate that at all in the slightest. But let's follow the money. Let's see where it's at. So, again, obviously, as you guys can see, most of the public is on the 76ers here. 80% of the money is on the 76ers. That scares me because I was actually going to pick the 76ers as them being underdogs. This is where Vegas would cash out the most. But because they would cash out the most, And 80% of the people are on them. That kind of worries me there. And then obviously they think Philadelphia can cover. So where Vegas would make the most money is if the Chicago Bulls wins. They don't need to cover the win, but they just need to win. And obviously they would make even more money if they cover. But I think I might go with the Chicago Bulls here, just going towards and with the public. Or going against the public, going with Vegas here to make the money. I think the Chicago Bulls can pull this out. Looking at this line here, and especially with how close this game could be, I'm going to stick with Vegas on this one. I've seen them do some crazy things. Not saying it's up to Vegas on whether they're going to win or lose, but I just have been seeing crazy things happen throughout the entire NBA season. So I will pick the Chicago Bulls for this game, and in fact, I'll probably sprinkle on them to cover as well. Now, let's jump into the next game here. We got the Phoenix Suns going against the New Orleans Pelicans. Again, massive slate, big slate, but I think this is the second to last game here. Got a couple more, but let's keep rocking and rolling here. But yeah, Phoenix Suns going against the New Orleans Pelicans. Phoenix obviously is the main, favorites here. They're sitting at minus 200. The New Orleans Pelicans is sitting at plus 180, and then the spread we're sitting at plus 6. Plus 5.5, 4.5 or so, and then total over under at 239. So another pretty high scoring game. Again, both teams would have to get like 120 or so around there. And as you guys can see where the money is exactly at, this is what we're looking at here. So we have the Phoenix Suns, 79% of the money's on there, minus 200. Vegas, will pay out pretty well there. Nothing wrong with that. And then Phoenix Suns to cover the spread. This is where I would think that the New Orleans Pelicans can cover. Not only based because the public is on the Phoenix Suns to cover, but I also think the Pelicans can cover this line, at plus 6.5 or so. I do think they can keep this close. I mean, they have all their units back. Trey Murphy, Zion is back as well. Sadiq Bey's doing his thing, and then that new rookie, Derek Queen. That man is he's a walking guy, walking unit. He's looking like a young version of Jokic to some degree with some extra experience on his belt. I think he can average a pretty high triple double case as a center. So he's doing really good numbers. So they're playing very well. I do think they can keep it close, so I do like that line of plus 6.5 for this game. Now, the over-under, this is where Vegas would also make a lot of money here with this game going under. Again, I don't hate the under just because both teams hitting 120 to 125. We haven't seen that a lot in the day after Christmas. Who knows how energized people will be, how many things players will even want to play. LeBron was talking about on an interview the other day where he just wants to be with the family. I'm sure he's not the only one in the NBA that feels the exact same way as well, right? So, I do like the under here, so I think I'll fade the public when it comes to the Phoenix spread, and I will fade the public here when it comes to the over. So this is what I'm looking like here. Now, jumping into the next game here, we have the Milwaukee Bucks going against Memphis. Memphis is at home. We have the Memphis Grizzlies sitting at minus 195. Spread is at minus 5, so they think they can beat the Milwaukee Bucks by 5 or more. And then the over-under sitting at 228.5, maybe 225, depending on the sports book. So, this is a big game to look at here. With no Giannis, not really big chemistry, new players playing with each other on the Milwaukee Bucks, new coaching, still trying to develop. I can understand completely why a lot of people are picking the Grizzlies here. And with the Milwaukee Bucks being plus 175 favorites, I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. I will honestly, though, sprinkle on the Milwaukee Bucks money line on this game just because there's something that tells me they can pull this out. When it comes to Memphis, they have been playing well. They've been doing really good so far. John Morant, JJJ, Jaren Jackson, he's doing really well as well, throughout as well. So I don't hate the favorites, and then obviously they're at home, so it makes the most sense. But I don't know, just something looking at the numbers, and then also with Milwaukee, they have been ramping up to kind of give a few upsets throughout. So I think this is a game where they can give an upset. They are 2 out of their last 3. They just beat Indiana their last game. I think they could build the momentum off on this game. So who knows? That's where I'll be looking at here. Now, when it comes to the spread, obviously, if the Milwaukee Bucks don't win, I'll go over and click the plus 5.5. I think they can cover that as well. I think I'm with or against the public here. And then the over-under, obviously 77% of the money is on the under. I think I might go with the over on this one too, just because Memphis, they have scored 137 in their last game. They scored 103, 130, 116, and then 121. And then also Milwaukee has scored 111, 100, 111. So that makes sense or 100. Yeah, 105, sorry. But that makes sense why, a lot of people are on the under. They might think the Milwaukee Bucks aren't going to score as much. But where I would be looking at mostly is the Memphis Grizzlies. I think they just have a lot more units to score more. And I think the Milwaukee Bucks can keep up. So I think it could be high scoring. I think I might fade the public here and go with the over on this game. Not saying it's going to happen, but just looking at the numbers. So let's keep this train going. We got a few more games to go over, and then we're done here, and then I'll go over my pair props. But second to last game, we got the Detroit Pistons going against the Utah Jazz. This is probably going to be one of my favorite games when it comes to targeting player props, in my opinion, just because I think there's a lot to work with, a lot of great players to look at, a lot of great, back and forth. And if the refs let these boys play, we can get some great coin here. So this is where I would really target when it comes to those player props and more. But as you guys already know, and I'm sure you're probably looking at it as well, Detroit money line is the most entire favorite. They are minus 430 as favorites. So 88% of the money or the public on this is not going to damage Vegas whatsoever. Line sitting at minus 9.5 plus 10.5 or so. That's a very high spread. So when it comes to something like that, I can understand completely why people would think that Utah Jazz can keep that under 10 points. I mean, the Utah Jazz aren't the best team by any means. They've lost 4 out of their last 5, but they are able to keep up, in my opinion, just from watching them play, looking at the result or the reviews and the results of previous games. They can keep games fairly close when given the option, right? I mean, they kept it close against Memphis. They kept it close against Orlando, kept it fairly close or under 10 against LA, and kept it close and actually won against Dallas. So, I don't hate them covering here, especially a 10.5 point spread. I don't think they lose by 10 by Detroit. I mean, Detroit has been doing really well this year, don't get me wrong, but I think Utah Jazz, especially them being at home with the team chemistry kind of ramping up, the players back, Keontae George, Markkanens, they're doing their thing. I think this game can be fairly close. Isaiah Collier, that's someone who I would target as well. This is a game where I'm gonna fade the public here and go with the Utah Jazz spread. I don't think they win, but I do think they can keep this game under 10 points, hopefully, and that's where I'll be looking at here. And then obviously we have the total at a very high 244.5. So again, this is probably one of the highest scoring games of the night, and that's the reason why I would focus on player props here. But when it comes down to the over/under, what I would be deciding, I think I might go with the under. Just both teams would have to score 125, 130 each to hit pretty, maximizing that over. 60% of the money's on that. I think I might go with the under on this game, just going against the public again. But if they score over, I can completely see the reasons why as well. I think this is going to be a really high score, and I just hope it's not over 245.5. So that's what I'll be picking on this game. We'll see what happens. And then let's just jump into the next game so we can finish out the player props and get you guys on your way. So last game we have is the Los Angeles Clippers versus the Portland Trail Blazers. I'm going to say this in the beginning of this slate here. I am not even touching anything when it comes to the Clippers playing anybody. The Clippers have been showing really weird signs of complete malfunctions when it comes to the teams, lineups, plays, coaching, injuries, and all. I am not touching the Clippers. They scare me. I can't get a gauge on them. And Ty Lue's already have been in discussions about, gambling fraud in a way too. So that's another reason why I'm staying away from a lot of Clipper props and money lines and all. So I'm just going to put that on the record before I go through it. But for those who wants to play this game, I don't blame you. But for those who do want to play it, I just won't. I will cover it as well. So obviously the Clippers are the favorites, minus 120. Portland Trailblazers are underdogs, but barely. They're plus 105. And then their spread is sitting at plus 2.5. So Clippers, they think the Clippers can win, but not by 3 or more. Or they think that Portland can cover. Now, with Portland being at home, they give them an extra 2 to 3 point juice. So, they really think Clippers can win by 4 or 5. But I kind of might be thinking more of Trailblazers here. I think the Trailblazers can win, or at least cover. I think it could be a close game. Just because looking at the last 5 games, I mean, they lost their last 2 against Orlando Magic and Detroit, but they won back-to-back against Sacramento and then beat the Golden State Warriors, which was a really good game, too. They really, really, really close. But the thing is, with the Clippers, they just won against Houston, which was a tough team to beat. And then they beat the Los Angeles Lakers as well, which is another pretty tough team to beat. So I can understand why people are on the Clippers, but there's something about them that makes me feel like the minute everybody's on them, I don't know, man. They do some weird stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if Portland takes this game away here. But yeah, so just looking at the numbers, if I were to bet on anything or even give any recommendations, again, I'm going with Portland Trailblazers money line, that plus 105, just for some extra juice on a money line spread, and we'll see what happens. I just don't trust the Clippers. I don't trust the players. I don't trust the coaching. I don't trust anything that comes from the Clippers right now. They just have not been trustworthy. So I'm going to go with the Blazers here. I won't be playing it, but that's just my recommendation for this game. Now, let's jump into the player props that I have for you guys today, and definitely let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys want to take anyone out, add anyone, and again, comment below for that. And again, lastly, join the Discord. It's completely free. Would love to see you guys in there. Love to see your plays as well if you got any for us, and love the engagement. Appreciate you, and let's jump into the player props. Let's go. All right, so now the moment we've all been waiting for here, my 4 favorite player props here. This would be a 5X on PrizePicks if you decide to play it on PrizePicks. And I will say I do like everybody's regular line as well for this. But again, I like to keep mine a little bit with more juice just to be extra safe. But this is a complete 5X on here. 20 pays 100. Not a bad cash out as well. But let me show you guys the reasons why, right? So just to start us off, we got Trae Young, Joel Embiid, Ace Bailey, and Markkanen, all for PRA or points and assists and points and rebounds. And let me show you exactly the reasons why here. So starting off with Trae Young. This man has hit it 60% of the time. He came back from injury. He's hit it back-to-back games that he's played so far when he's come back from his injury. So I think he continues this momentum. This is also another game where, again, Atlanta, this is a high-scoring game, very close game as well. So I do think he can be very utilized here. Another player I did like on this slate as well was Jalen Johnson, but I do think Trae Young performs here, especially being at home. So the reasons for that, I really like Trae Young. Another reason for Joel Embiid. This guy here is Joel Embiid. I know he has a lot of injury problems. I know he can't play back-to-back games, but am I the only one that forgets or doesn't forget that this man is still Joel Embiid at the end of the day? Man was averaging 30-plus points, averaging 10-plus rebounds. This man was in MVP talks almost every year for 4 to 5 years straight. I just don't see him not performing every time he touches the floor. So he is a foul merchant, but that goes with our favor here. 29.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He is ramping up his points. I know early in the season when he had minute restrictions, he was averaging about 17 to 18 points. He's getting a lot more minutes here. His regular line for points was 22.5. Why not get an extra couple, rebounds and assists to go along with it? I honestly think he can score 25. Honestly, he can get the PRA and points. He can score 30-plus points himself. So it'd be very interesting to see what he does today. I'm on his PRA. I did it, adjusted a little bit here to get 29.5. I think the regular line is 34.5. I do not hate the 34.5 either if you guys want to do the regular line. But again, you know me, I like to be extra safe. I'll take that, lower payout odds. It's a slow grind for me, so I didn't mind that. But yeah, that's the reason why I like Joel. I think he really does a really great job against Chicago tonight. And again, this is another high-scoring game, so I wanted to target that. Now, the reason why I pick Ace Bailey. Ace Bailey is ramping up. He's doing pretty well as of late. He's getting a lot more minutes. And the biggest reasons why I picked Ace Bailey on this is because not only did he hit this last game, his 17.5 PRA, but he also, this game here has a lot of blowout potential. And if it is blowing out potential, he will get a lot more minutes. He'll be able to do a lot more throughout the entire game. And so that's the reason why I picked Ace Bailey here. With 17.5 PRA, not much to ask for. I know he can shoot the lights out. I mean, honestly, if he can get 14, 15 points himself, rebounds and assists will be just a little extra to get this over here. So I really do like this play here. And then last but not least, we have Markkanen. Now, this play right here was a bit hesitant for me just because I knew picking the same players on the same team. I told you guys in previous videos I don't like to pick players on the same team, but this line was just too good to pass up. I think, again, I do think the Jazz hold their ground today, especially, they might surprise Detroit. And I think Markkanen and Ace Bailey might be a good addition to keep that grind going. And Markkanen has not let down in the past, couple games here. As we can see, he's hit this line last 3 out of his last 5 games. Actually, last 4 out of 5 games, he's only missed it once, and he has a 60% clip in his last 10 games. So 29.5 PR. One of his favorite props for today as well is over 6.5 rebounds. Some people are even going for his 7.5 to get 8 rebounds, and he's hit that in his last 5 games as well. So I know a lot of people are on that. I'm going to keep it a little juice, keep it a little under, but I do think this man can score at least 24 to 25 points himself, and get an extra 4 to 5 rebounds will get us over that 29.5. So I love this. This is probably my favorite. Him and Trae Young are my 2 favorite player props for today's slate, but this is what I'm working with, guys. This is what I'm working with. Now, if you guys have some plays, if you have some insights, if you have some plays you want to take out, if you have some plays you want to add, please let me know below. I would love to hear it. And especially as well, go ahead and at me on X as well. Would love to hear your plays. And if you guys tailed my play here, if it cashes and you tail it, I'll go ahead and throw a little a surprise for you guys as well. And I will also tell you and follow you. And then also, too, when it comes down to the Discord, if you guys want to post your plays on there as well, we would love to see it. Love your insights and love your engagement as well. Nothing wrong with that. Let's build up and cash out together as a community and a team. So those are my teams. Those are my player props. Those are the insights. I hope this adds value to you guys' day. I hope this helps you guys cash throughout the day. Again, if it does, at me on X, and also join the Discord. Love to see you guys in there. But other than that, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Happy Merry Christmas or post Merry Christmas, and we're getting close to the New Year, so hopefully you guys have a good time as well before that happens. So see you guys on the other side. Good luck today, and let's cash.